Hey everybody, this is Case from 4Barrel CrossFit. For those of you who haven't met me, I'm the head coach at our New Albany location. The purpose of this presentation is to give you the practical tools you'll need to optimize your nutrition. I want to keep it short, simple, and actionable, so we'll start with a quick outline on why nutrition is important, followed by a base understanding of what makes up good nutrition, and then we'll wrap things up with how to easily put healthy shopping, prepping, and eating into practice to meet your goals and lifestyle. Nutrition is the foundation of everything we do. It's your daily fuel, as well as the building blocks for healthy cells, tissues, organs, bones, and muscles. It's also the area that most of us need to improve more than anything else. If improved body composition, performance, daily mood and energy, disease prevention, or longevity is what you seek, nutrition is the most important variable that can affect all of these goals. This is an image of CrossFit's hierarchy of the development of an athlete. If you're a member at 4Barrel, you likely spend 4 to 5 hours a week on training and exercise. However, most of us put very little thought and effort into our nutrition practice. That said, in order to achieve optimum health and fitness levels, our priorities should likely be switched to include an even larger focus on nutrition as opposed to exercise. So what is good nutrition? Well, there's a lot of noise out there about what is the best approach to healthy eating. Is it low fat, high carb, high fat, low carb, paleo, zone, keto, Atkins, Whole30, RP? The list goes on and on. Here's the quick and dirty. Most good diets are more similar than they are different. They all get at a few primary things, they just come at them in a different way. The things that most good diets focus on are getting a balance of macronutrients throughout the day, getting in lots of micronutrients, and not eating too much or too little. So what are macronutrients and micronutrients? Macronutrients are the bigger building blocks of nutrition and can be broken down into 3 types: protein, carbohydrate, and fat. Healthy protein sources include things like meat, fish, and eggs. Healthy carbohydrates include starchy vegetables, fruit, and whole grains. And healthy fat sources include things like nuts, seeds, olives, coconut, and avocados. It should also be noted that fat is common in protein sources. Think fatty fish like salmon, red meat, and egg yolks. Micronutrients are the smaller nutritional building blocks. Put simply, these are vitamins and minerals. The more quality the food source, the higher the density of vitamins and minerals. Many of the important vitamins and minerals you need come from the food sources we just mentioned, but for purposes of our discussion, we'd like you to think of non-starchy vegetables being your primary source of added micronutrients. These include things like kale, spinach, and broccoli. So how much should I eat? Well, how much a person should eat depends on their age, activity level, amount of existing lean tissue, base metabolic rate, and goals. You can start to see that several factors go into this equation. Plus, understanding the exact amount of calories and/or macros one should consume will always be only an estimate due to measurement variance in testing equipment, differences in metabolism, as well as only having rough estimates of the amount of energy a person expends in a given day. In addition, determining the exact number of nutrients and/or calories within food will always have variance. Studies have shown that even the nutrition values listed on packaged food are commonly off by 20% or more. And lastly, having the time to weigh and measure all of your food can become a tedious task that often results in completely giving up on one's diet. That's why we prefer to use a method that simplifies this equation, allows you to establish a baseline, adapts to busy lifestyles, and increases the likelihood of success. The solution? Your hand. Using hand estimates is a methodology we picked up from Precision Nutrition, and we love this method because of its simplicity, applicability, and likelihood to increase consistency in healthy eating. Protein the size of your palm, carbs the size of a cupped hand, fat the size of your thumb, and veggies the size of your fist. 1 hand for women per meal and 2 hands for men. We love this method because it's dead simple and you can take it with you anywhere. If I prep food in bulk on the weekend, I can apply these estimates as I build meals throughout the week. If I'm eating out, I can use these estimates. Even if I'm on the road and a gas station is the only place to find food, I can still use these principles. Also, it scales with the size of the individual. If I have a bigger frame, I need more macros, which is adjusted by the likelihood of having a larger hand. Lastly, apply these principles to 4 meals per day to establish your intake baseline. This is how much you should eat. So what if I can't eat 4 meals per day? Just get your servings in. Example, if a female needs 4 palms of protein, 4 cupped hands of carbs, 4 thumbs of fat, and 4 fists of veggies per day, I could spread those across only 2 meals. Thus, 2 palms, hands, thumbs, and fists at each meal. And still see the positive benefits of getting in adequate nutrients and setting a baseline for energy balance. For most of the general population, nutrient timing isn't nearly as important as replacing nutrient deficiencies and achieving relative energy balance. What if that's more food than I'm already eating? That's okay too. We often work with clients who have been eating at such a calorie and nutrient deficit for such a long time that their metabolism has likely slowed. They're not building lean tissue and their body is holding on to fat. Getting adequate levels of micro and macronutrients is often the first step in jump-starting the body to be a muscle-building and fat-burning machine. What if it makes me too full? Then get as close as you can and don't overeat. Some simple rules are to eat slow and mindfully, that is, don't try to multitask while eating, and if fat loss is your goal, stop eating when you're about 80% full. There is no single exact approach that works for everyone. We have to start with a baseline, see how we feel, and then make small adjustments. Side note, if gaining size is your goal, then being full is just something you'll have to get used to. What if I don't want to eat carbs in the morning if I'm not working out until the evening? Baby steps first. Once you've proven to yourself that you can hit your hand estimates for 4 servings a day without fail for at least 2 weeks, then we can worry about carb timing and other nuances in our nutrition. The graphic to the right is from Renaissance Periodization. We like to use this because it gives us an idea of how much we need to focus on each piece of the nutrition puzzle. Simply by using our hand estimates, we can achieve relative calorie balance in blue, adequate macronutrient intake in red, take into account food composition considerations in yellow, and to a degree nutrient timing goals in green. Add all of that up, and that's 90 to 95% of the equation. There are a million hairs to split and questions to answer when it comes to nutrition. Is dairy good or bad for me? Is it okay to have grains? Is sugar going to kill us all? Different diet camps, different companies, and even different scientists would give you varying answers on some of these questions. However, one thing is certain. As body composition improves, that is, lean tissue increases and fat tissue decreases, all other markers of health improve. Side note, body fat levels can get too low, but that's an exception to the rule. So how do we improve our body composition? 1, by eating a mix of macronutrients at every meal. 2, getting in plenty of micronutrients. And 3, achieving relative energy and calorie balance. The nuances of nutrition aren't nearly as important as consistently hitting these 3 goals. So make nutrition a process of inclusion, not exclusion. Worry about how to get a fist of protein, a cupped hand of carbohydrate, a thumb of fat, and a fist of vegetables, times 2 for men, at every meal, and the rest will take care of itself. Do this day in and day out, and remember, consistency is king. So how do I put all of this into practice? First, it's important to understand that habit change, breaking old routines and establishing new ones, is the biggest hurdle to get over when it comes to nutrition. We don't expect people to change their entire lives in order to build the perfect diet, but we do want you to know that it will take some work and it will take some thought. The early stages are the hardest, but once you get the swing of things, eating healthy and balanced becomes more automatic. Also, it's important to understand that Rome wasn't built in a day. You will not become the world's healthiest eater in a week. Ask anyone who has truly folded healthy nutrition into their life in a practical way, and they'll tell you it took them years to get to that level. Nutrition is a practice, just like anything else. Dialing in what works for you, what makes you happy, and what gets you to your goals is an ongoing process. So put this into practice. Take a look at your getting started grocery list and begin to build your 3 per shopping list. From there, get rid of all unhealthy food. See the avoid section on your grocery list, because if it's in your house, you will eat it. Make your first trip to the store and do your first food prep. Remember to focus on single or simple ingredients and unpackaged food. You don't need to make specific meals for the entire week. Simply try to cook all of your meat at once and chop up veggies to store in containers to be used throughout the week. Your first pass at this may take an extra hour or two, but once you get the hang of it, a weekly grocery trip and basic food prep can be completed in around 2 hours. And if it all doesn't happen with flying colors on your first attempt, don't worry, that's part of the process. Keep what worked, shed what didn't work, and dial things in a bit more the following week.